There was a fairy rejected and scorned whose anger grew into a storm.
Think you know the age-old story of Sleeping Beauty? Well, think again. You're about to experience poetical theater, where the word meets the pulse meets the music meets the image, and all of it meets the child. This is Sleeping Beauty as you've never seen before. A rhymed verse spin on the classic fairy tale, with live music and mesmerizing projections that create a magical multimedia world in which our beautiful and funky princess is awakened by true love's kiss. Or not. I'm David Gonzalez, and I hope you'll join me for a magical ride. That's Friday, February 23rd, and Saturday, February 24th, at the Bermuda Festival of the Performing Arts. See you there.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV9 News.
Good evening, everyone. It's Monday, February 19th, 2018. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us tonight. A 17-year-old Bermudian living in the UK is reported to have been killed after being stabbed during an attack by a group of males. He was assaulted last Tuesday night in Bulwell, Nottinghamshire at around 7:30. Sources in Bermuda tell Bermuda Broadcasting News that the teenager had recently arrived in the UK. He has not yet been named by police either here in Bermuda or in Britain. After the attack on Tuesday, he was rushed to the hospital, but our sources say he died of his injuries over the weekend. The Bermuda Police Service says it is aware of the reports and is working to verify the incident, but it's awaiting confirmation from police in the UK. In other news, Premier David Burt took his maiden budget to the people this morning, business people that is, at the annual PwC budget breakfast. In front of a crowd of 350, the Premier made the case for why his budget will help attract international business and ultimately create more jobs for Bermudians. Tody Waterman was there.
Every budget has a buzzword, a rallying call for the year ahead. Bermuda's budget 2018 buzzword?
Jobs. 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 Jobs.
So, how to get those jobs? Well, the theory is relatively straightforward. Build a business-friendly environment. That attracts the companies who bring the people and create the jobs. People with jobs tend to spend more money. That money gets cycled through services, retail shops, and restaurants. Wealth gets more equally distributed, and the government collects more tax revenue.
If we had half the jobs that we've lost, so that puts us back to 37,000, I mean, we'll be in a far better position of where we are right now. So that's where the focus has to be. And that's why every time I have the conversations, whether it's the chamber, whether it be a beer, whether it be a BIC or others, the conversation is always, what are your thoughts for having additional jobs created here inside of the Bermuda economy? That's the only thing that, in my opinion, really matters.
Latest census data show that Bermuda's unemployment sits at 7%. This year's budget is certainly chock full of business-friendly initiatives to try and change that. A relaxation of the 60-40 rule, which now gives foreigners the option to own a majority stake in a local business, and a freeze on a planned payroll tax increase have both been enthusiastically received in business circles.
I've never been of the view that the payroll tax on the company is a sensible thing to do when you're trying to convince companies to employ people physically on island.
But convincing those companies to set up shop in Bermuda isn't as easy as it was even just a few months ago. Tax reform in the U.S. has made it cheaper for firms to do business there, eroding Bermuda's tax advantage. Penalties on profit shifting also discourage U.S. companies from keeping money abroad. A rapidly aging population and sky-high healthcare costs don't help.
I think all of the changes are all in the right direction, but they are marginal. They sort of telecast the kind of changes they'd like to see going forward. But I don't think it's going to have that big a similar impact on the economy.
The government has already lowered its 2017 growth forecast, no longer expecting the economy to grow near 2%. The premier said this showed the urgent need to stimulate the economy. But as with most things, the devil is in the details. And most of those details won't be known until the Tax Reform Commission issues its own report. Tony Waterman for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Meantime, the full implementation of the People's Agenda, that's what will follow last Friday's reading of the national budget. This from Premier and Finance Minister David Burt, who reiterates the best way to restore Bermuda's economy is to create an environment of growth. Speaking at a post-budget press conference today, Mr. Burt made it clear this will be done by creating opportunities for Bermudians while ensuring disciplined public spending.
This budget reflects the commitment made to struggling workers who have seen wages stagnant and costs increase. It addresses that commitment by making our payroll tax system more progressive by lowering the lowest band of payroll taxes to 4%, meaning that anyone who makes under $96,000 a year will see their take-home pay increase. This budget reflects the commitment that we made to our entrepreneurs, giving them tax breaks and additional avenues to raise capital to be successful by the revision of the 60-40 rule. This budget reflects the commitment that we have made to our seniors by reinforcing that they are a valued and important part of this community by ensuring pension increases and also looking to provide seniors with assistance to lower their electricity bills. This budget reflects the commitments made to students of all ages who want to acquire the skills needed to succeed in a global economy driven by technology by giving $5.8 million more to the Ministry of Education and Workforce Development.
Mr. Burt also pointed to efforts to encourage new investment by attracting new industry in which Bermuda can be a world leader.
We are creating legislation to lead the digital currency revolution and ensuring that innovators who want to establish the latest type of financial technologies or fintech will find a jurisdiction that rewards that innovation. With a view to the future, this budget allocates funds for the application of blockchain technology in our land title register so that we can be an example to the world. The government is going to attract companies here whose investment in Bermuda will create jobs and show why Bermuda's greatest asset is her people. We have had enough time to assess the current and short-term performance of the economy and also to analyze the medium and long-term forecasts. By prioritizing the people, by stimulating growth, and by encouraging innovation, it is possible to produce a budget that can enhance the lives of Bermudians and cement the social contract that we have with the electorate.
According to Mr. Burt, this government will create additional competition in our economy, leading to lower prices, which are so desperately needed by Bermudian consumers. Stay with us. More news in tonight's Accuweather Forecast after the break.
Can you believe it? The circus is back in town.
I heard! February 22nd, 23rd, and 24th at the Ruth St. James Center for the Performing Arts.
Featuring, as seen on America's Got Talent, Bellomania!
Purchase your tickets today at ptix.vm. Don't forget, coming to Bermuda, Bellomania Circus, February 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
This is a certified family event for all ages. You don't want to miss it.
The whole concept came from the collaboration with BF&M and the America's Cup. The Endeavour program is the legacy of the 35th America's Cup that was here in Bermuda in June. And we've continued the charity now operating in Bermuda. And going forward, we thought, what a great opportunity for children on the autism spectrum. And hence we actually developed the No Limits program. They really do benefit from this kind of outdoor experience, this environment. You know, just yesterday going off the east end of Bermuda, I mean, they wouldn't have done that. Not many children in Bermuda have done that. And just them learning to take control of a large bit of transportation that they're doing at that age, and they may never get that opportunity.
That's where you see the biggest progress is whether they were looking at their hand steering, you know, now they're looking forwards and actually looking where they're going because they've realized, oh, I know where my hand is. I can do this without looking at my hand.
We are so grateful for the Endeavour program and what it has done for the students on the autism spectrum.
Inquiries are underway regarding 2 reported incidents of indecent exposure encountered by 2 different women, each apparently walking alone, that occurred in 2 different locations over the weekend. The first was reported to have occurred around 9:30 a.m. Saturday, February the 17th, under a bridge along the railway trail in the Great Bay Drive Paget area. The suspect was described as a black male wearing a white t-shirt and brown pants. The second was reported to have occurred around 6:50 a.m. on Sunday, February the 18th, in the Long Lane, Hamilton Parish area near the Mid-Ocean Golf Course. That suspect was described as a naked, brown-complexioned male, approximately 5 feet 7 inches tall, of medium build. Witnesses or anyone with information should call the police on 295-0011 or the Confidential Crime Stoppers hotline at 800-8477. In other news, the man behind plans to mount all-terrain vehicle tours along parts of the railway trail has defended the scheme. Rudolph Buddy Hollis has hit back at widespread online criticism of his plans, saying he's been misunderstood. Jasmine Patterson reports.
Excitement is the one word that comes to mind for Buddy Hollis when he contemplates his plans for ATV tours. They've been in the making for the past 3 years. Buddy faces fierce opposition from many people. Criticism, he says, is unfair.
I think the problem that we have been faced with is that there's been a lot of illegal use of Browns Bay by scramblers and the rest of it, making a whole lot of noise. And so we've been stereotyped.
He says the tours will give visitors a new way to experience the West End. They'll start at Beacon Hill, go through Hayden Trust Park, Scour Hill Fort Park, and Hog Bay.
The Bermuda Tourism Authority introduced their report about 2 weeks ago, and they said 45% of the people coming to Bermuda were under the age of 50, and they were looking for activity that was conducive to that generation. And so when you start looking at that, you look at what the tourists have been doing. They've been going cliff diving and all kinds of things, so they're looking for creative things to do. This is a creative thing to do.
Hundreds of people opposed to the plan have registered their concerns after the Ministry of Public Works called for consultations over the scheme in November. While online, many commenters say they worry that the vehicles will be noisy and disturb the peace of an otherwise serene place. Mr. Hollis says he's misunderstood.
It is not our intent to disturb anybody's amenities. We specifically designed this course around the use of the railway trail. The hours are 10 o'clock to 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. That's the first tour. The second tour is 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, specifically designed so that it doesn't conflict with most people who are out walking, exercising. It doesn't conflict with rush hour traffic or any of those things. And
the ATV alone wouldn't be the only highlight of the tour.
Now you get to go to the Hayden Trust and explain to them about our architecture history, about religion. You get to go to Fort Scour to explain to them about our colonial background, our forts. You get to Browns Bay where you get to talk about agriculture. You can even speak to the lime kiln that exists there to explain to them what is a lime kiln. So you entice them to that. But not only that, is that as we're traveling on a grassroots level, we're going to pass Baxter's, for example. So you get an opportunity to say, hey, you guys want a mussel pie? You can get it from here.
Despite criticisms, Mr. Hollis says that former MPs, the BTA, and TCD were consulted about his plans.
During that process, did any of the environmental experts bring up any concerns in terms of pollution or damage to the environment?
When we did the presentation, they did speak to certain areas that they felt we could not go to. They questioned about whether or not we could regulate the speed, which is done by way of this little instrument right here, which is called a governor. So you can regulate the speed so people don't go too fast. They talked about impact on the environment, and we explained to them that it was a four-stroke vehicle. It didn't emit a whole lot of emissions, so they were concerned.
And Mr. Hollis says there's always opposition to anything new.
And there's always a risk in a venture like this here, but it's the same thing that happened when they brought in the jet skis, when people were opposed to that. So I think we have to give it a chance. If it doesn't work, if it's offensive, if it's detrimental, I have no problem stopping it. I have no problem with that. But at this point, I don't think that it is.
Colonel David Birch, the Minister of Public Works, is expected to announce his decision on the ATV tour plan very shortly. Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Bermuda's talented young Dr. Karika Weldon is back on island for the second International Splicing Conference at Fairmont, Southampton. Mike Sharp reports.
The goal of the scientists is to negotiate the completion of the Human Genome Project, which was an international scientific research project with the goal of determining the sequence of the nucleotide base pairs that make up human DNA.
So we are hosting the second annual Bermuda Principles Impact on Splicing Conference, where we have around 50 international scientists coming down from all over the world, from Europe, from the North America, from Australia, from Africa, and they are coming to share their latest research in the field of splicing. Very exciting. We are honored that they're coming, and we have people who are top in the field. We have someone who's just got the first FDA-approved drug on the market in splicing, and we want anyone from the public who wants to come, please come and join us for free to see what it's all about.
Which countries are they coming from, and what will they be speaking on?
So we have people from the US, from Canada, then over in Europe we have England, Scotland, France, Spain, Italy, Denmark and Netherlands, and then we have Australia and South Africa. So a big mix. And everyone's going to be talking about what they do as a researcher. I'm just giving a talk as well, so I'll be speaking on, I think on Friday. And everyone's talking about literally what they do. Some work on different areas of splicing, some work more on like the technical bits, which is very over, the average person's head. And then you have people talking more about therapeutics and technologies that we can use, and about how splicing and disease, they link that. A lot of them are actually talking about cancer as well. So there's a wide variety of talks.
I'm Mike Sharp with Bermuda Broadcasting News.
And Mike will have more from his discussion with Dr. Weldon in subsequent newscasts. Now turning to weather news, sunny days ahead. Here's the latest from Accuweather headquarters.
Accuweather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to Accuweather headquarters.
The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's Accuweather Forecast. I'm Accuweather meteorologist Brittany Boyer, and I hope you've had a great start to the week so far. On this Monday, we have high pressure that's building in over the island, and this is going to set up for several nice days. We don't have any major storm systems that we're watching here, and we also do have an area of low pressure that's working its way away from us, trailing cold front, but that high pressure system is really going to be our weather maker over the next couple of days here across the island. Looking at things locally, pretty quiet on this Monday evening. Temperatures in the 60s here. We're looking at humidity between 60 and 65%. The winds are coming in out of the northeast, 10 to 15 knots. The water is nice and comfortable, sitting at 70 degrees, and we're actually going to see our temperatures bouncing back into the 70s over the next couple of days. Waves outside of the reef, you could still find some choppy conditions out there, so make sure you're taking it easy if you do plan on heading out on the water. We don't have any specific advisories that have been issued by the Weather Service, so you should be a-okay. Just take it easy out there on the waters. For tonight, we could just see a sprinkle passing through the area. Otherwise, relatively quiet tonight. Low temperatures are going to be in the low 60s. And as we head into tomorrow, temperatures right around 70 degrees. Times of clouds and sunshine. Should be a beautiful Tuesday out there with low temperatures right around 65 degrees. So again, we're not looking at any major disturbances over the next couple of days. So whether you live here, you're here for vacation, it's going to be a pretty nice week. Looking at our marine forecast here again, we don't have any advisories out there. Your high tide one coming in just before 11 o'clock tonight. Low tide one coming in just after 5 a.m. tomorrow. So things are pretty good out on the water. Now, if you are going to be doing any traveling over the next couple of days, we do have some warm air over the East Coast as well. Now, for tomorrow in Toronto, Ontario, temperatures are going to be in the upper 50s, but there will be periods of rain out there. New York City, temperatures right around 60 degrees, clouds and sun also above normal temperatures in Boston. Will actually be challenging some record high temperatures across the East Coast this week. Meantime, as you head farther south, look at this, mid 70s in Atlanta, mid 80s in Miami, Florida. So not only are we dealing with the nice, comfortable temperatures here, also out toward the East Coast as well. As we get into some of the islands, Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad, a few scattered showers. Temperatures right now in Jamaica in the upper 80s. So we take you through the extended forecast over the next couple of days, although we could see a shower late tonight. And you can see this rainy icon here on Thursday. This would be a weak frontal boundary, so We don't have, again, any major storm systems. Tomorrow, clouds and sunshine, high temperatures near 70. We get back into the low 70s right through the weekend, so some pretty pleasant times on the way. 70 on your Wednesday. We'll watch for a shower or two on Thursday, and Friday and Saturday looking pretty good with those nice warm temperatures. We'll send it back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
All my life is changing every day, in every possible way. Then I open up and see the person falling here is me. 'Cause you're a dream to me.
Made with care, handled with care, delivered with care. That's what dreams are made of.
How much do you want for the carrot? You accept all your business.
Welcome back. One of the world's leading daredevil performers will be appearing in Bermuda this week. Bello Nock is best known for his tightrope walks over dizzying heights, but he's also appeared on Broadway, America's Got Talent, and in the Guinness Book of Records. Ahead of his 3 appearances at the Ruth Seton James Auditorium at Cedar Bridge, he met with some of the school's students and our reporter, Hal Davis.
My name is Bello Nock. My real name.
He's thrilled audiences across the world, including the millions watching America's Got Talent. Though he's perhaps most famous for his daring high-wire work. One stunt saw Bello walk the length of a football stadium, another along a cruise liner at sea, while he's also taken on what's called the Wheel of Death. There was little sign of such elaborate equipment at Cedar Bridge today, just some old-fashioned magic.
Watch. Watch! Watch! Thank you, isn't that great?
So what will the Bello Nock Circus bring to the Ruth Seton James Auditorium this week?
What you can expect from Bellomania Circus is everything that you could imagine that you'd see in the circus, on the theater, in the stage, in the air. Comedy, daredevil, high wire walking, magic, dancing, singing, illusions. Basically, it's a show that encompasses all of entertainment, all crammed into one 90-minute show.
So, no animals when the circus comes to town, but lots of thrills promised. There'll be 3 performances all told on Thursday, Friday and Saturday, a chance for Bermudians to see the man, dubbed by Time magazine, America's Best Clown. Hal Davis, Bermuda Broadcasting News.
I like the hair, Bello. You must come from the South, too. Turning to sports, lower division teams advanced to the FA Challenge Cup semifinals. A new Bermuda indoor record was established, and 4 athletes meet Carifta game standards. Earl Baston has these stories and much more in the weekend sports roundup.
2 First Division teams will go into the FA Challenge Cup semi-final draw after quarter-final matches over the weekend. 12 goals were scored in 4 games, with 2 games going extra time and 1 game needed to be decided with kicks from the penalty mark. In an all-Premier Division match at St. John's Field yesterday, visiting PHC Zebras defeated the Dendytown Hornets 3-0. After a scoreless first half, the PHC Zebras took the lead in the 55th minute. This after Dendytown Hornets goalkeeper Troy Hall dropped the ball and Trey Ming was on hand to score from the edge of the box. Zakoy Robinson doubled the lead when he and Ming played a give and go. He beat Hall to his right. Robinson would then convert from the penalty spot in the 85th minute to earn the win. First Division outfit, Southampton Rangers advanced after a 3-1 extra time win over Premiership team North Village Rams. Premiership team Robin Hood came from behind to defeat the St. George's Colts 2-1 at the Wellington Oval, and on Saturday night in an old First Division matchup, Paget defeated BAA 4-3 on kicks from the penalty mark after the two teams ended their match 1-1. Iowa Central transfer Janai Parent-Chief represented Arkansas at the Arkansas Qualifier track meet, clearing an indoor personal best of 2.22 meters in high jump to win the event. Parent-Chief's leap broke his own Bermuda indoor record of 2.17 meters. It also moved him up to number 9th rank on the NCAA leaderboards and tied him for 8th on the Arkansas all-time best list. Parent-Chief would go back to work a couple of hours later in the triple jump, marking an indoor personal best of 16 meters to debut on the NCAA triple jump list at number 13. The Bermuda Carifta track and field team has increased its number by 4 following a track meet at the National Sports Center and a track meet in Barbados. Nairobi Smith Mills met the qualifying standard for the under-17 boys 800 meters when he was clocked at 1:59.17. Two under-17 girls met the 5:05 standard for the 1500 meters. Tilda Norman was clocked in a winning time of 4:57.36, while Jessie Marshall was clocked at 5:02.47. Several Bermuda athletes competed at the Lewis Lynch Championships at the Barbados National Stadium. Devontae Lodge Bean, during the under-17 boys 400-meter dash preliminaries, clocked the fastest qualifying time of 50:58. Lodge Bean would then win the under-17 boys 400-meter dash final with a Carifta Games qualifying standard time of 49:36. Erica Hawley competed at the 2018 Bridgetown Cam-Tri Sprint Triathlon, American Cup, and Central American and Caribbean Championships in Barbados. Hawley would finish 8th overall with a time of 1:05.55. Hawley's time saw her claim a podium spot for the Central American and Caribbean Championships region, collecting a silver medal. A total of 3 medals were won during the 2018 Eastern Interscholastic Swimming and Diving Championships. In the men's 200-yard freestyle A final, Jesse Washington clocked the fastest time of 1:39.12 to stand on top of the podium. Logan Watson Brown won the women's 100-yard freestyle A final silver medal, touching the wall in a time of 51:36. Washington captured his second medal of the championships during the men's 100-yard freestyle A final when he clocked the second fastest time of 44:98. The Bermuda Mountain Bike Race Series held its 7th race of the season at Southlands, where 78 cyclists rose to the challenge. Adam Kirk won the male A division, clocking a 9-lap time of 1:18.33. Charles Schwartz was second with a time of 1:21.28, while Ashley Robinson won the female B division uncontested, clocking a 6-lap time of 1:19.49. Rain halted play at the Bernard Park during the Bermuda Netball Association's Winter League season play on Saturday. Only 2 matches were completed in the under-12 division before the courts became too dangerous to play on. The North Village Lady Rams red team defeated the North Village Lady Rams whites 19-4, and then the Storm defeated Phoenix Sparks 15-5. There was plenty of excitement at the National Equestrian Center on Visa Street yesterday in the harness pony racing as the 2-year-old record was broken by Kaiwan Waldron in the Bike of Gold and Glory. The pair clocked a time of 1:02.3, which was the 3rd fastest time this season, and takes the 4th place spot on the track's all-time top 10, moving his time of 1:03.3 set back on February 4th. The J105 winter sailing season regatta continued on the waters of the Great Sound. Peter Bombay at the helm of Mayhem won all 3 races on the day, with James McDonald skippering Passion to 3 second-place finishes. Morning Glory, with Hasso Plattner and Glenn Aswood sharing the skippering duties, would finish 3rd on the day with 2 third-place finishes and a 4th. I'm Earl Basden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
The whole concept came from the collaboration with BF&M and the America's Cup. The Endeavour program is the legacy of the 35th America's Cup that was here in Bermuda in June. And we've continued the the charity now operating in Bermuda. And going forward, we thought, what a great opportunity for children on the autism spectrum. And hence we actually developed the No Limits program. They really do benefit from this kind of outdoor experience, this environment. You know, just yesterday going off the east end of Bermuda, I mean, they wouldn't have done that. Not many children in Bermuda have done that. And just them learning to take control of a large bit of transportation that they're doing at that age, and they may never get that opportunity.
That's where you see the biggest progress is whether they were looking at their hand steering, you know, now they're looking forwards and actually looking where they're going because they've realized, oh, I know where my hand is. I can do this without looking at my hand.
We are so grateful for the Endeavor program and what it has done for the students on the autism spectrum.
And before we leave you, Argus today announcing its $25,000 sponsorship of A Piece of the Rock's new community outreach program. A Piece of the Rock, a prominent road safety documentary and campaign, is designed to raise awareness of the core issues related to road safety in Bermuda and encourage the public to take action. Argus Executive Vice President John Dougherty says, quote, "We're delighted to partner with Piece of the Rock for its community outreach program." And that's our newscast for tonight. I'm Diane Brewer. Thanks for sharing your Monday evening with us, everyone. Good night.